Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Colton Posey Fishing. So today I was wanting to talk about reel and rod combos. What's the best reel and rod combos that you can buy or find or use or whatever? I get this question a lot, especially got it a lot around Christmas time. I'm guessing, people wanting to buy somebody that they know some fishing equipment. So I'm going to cover that. So also I was wanting to talk about, if you haven't liked and subscribed yet to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe to it. It helps me out a whole lot. I really appreciate it. This is something you don't want to miss. All right, so reel and rod combos, like one of the biggest questions that I get is, what would you suggest to buy? And you'll hear people say Shimano, Lew's, all the big names out there. My personal opinion, I fished with it all. Buy what you can afford, okay? Whatever you can get on the water. It's like a boat, in my opinion. If you cannot afford a $70,000 bass boat, don't buy one. Buy something that you can afford to get you on the water. Now, in my opinion, I'm going to kind of break it down from my favorites, from the most expensive that I've owned to the least expensive, okay? So the most expensive rods that I've ever owned, that I do love them. It does have some downfalls, and it does have some, pluses. There's pluses and minuses in it all, period. So the most expensive one that I've ever used that I really enjoyed and that I still own to this day is Impulse rods. I love Impulse rods. They're good made rods. The owner of the company, wonderful person. The people that work there, wonderful people. They take pride in what they do. Now, the pluses to these rods is they're super lightweight. I mean, I could throw a jerkbait all day without my arm feeling like it was going to fall off my body. Okay, this is before I lost all my weight. I was like 260, 280 pounds fishing all day. Now I'm down to like 230, okay? So, I mean, I could use these rods all day without getting wore out. The sensitivity of the blanks and the rods and stuff that they use, the quality of the way they build the rods, the sensitivity was outrageous. I actually had to adjust my fishing game because I was so used to using rods that was not as sensitive, if that makes sense. So, the minuses. The minuses of those specific rods and a lot of the higher end rods that I have found personally is they break easy. They break easy. The Impulse rods that I had, I've had several of them break just on hook sets. They're just, I don't know exactly what was going on at that time. Talked to the company. I believe they fixed it. Didn't have an issue after the other rods come in. But some of my other expensive rods, like my Shimano's and stuff like that, had the same thing happen. I would break rods setting the hook, and I mean, I wasn't laying into them. I wasn't pulling a Gerald Swindle and trying to jerk the fish into the next state. I mean, it would just snap. Like 4 guides down, that was it. So I still had some of my other rods in the boat, and some of the rods that I would say is at that mid-level as far as price range that I would suggest is something like your POW rods. Now, POW endurance rods are amazing rods. I absolutely love those rods. I don't know if they have different brands now or what's going on, but Powell at the time and the Powell that I have, I absolutely love my POW rods. Now, you do know that I still fish with Duckett rods. I do. Why? It's not necessarily because I like them any better than any other company. It's just those are the rods that I got. So those are the ones that I'm going to use, okay? I'm not just going to scrap a bunch of good rods and then buy a whole other set of rods, period. So Duckett, Powell, the Skeet Reese rods, I really like the Skeet Reese rods. Those are really good, $100 rods. Now, let's say you can't afford that and you need to go cheaper. Your Abu Garcia Black Maxes and your Lew's American Heroes. The cheapest that you can buy will last you forever. I have got Lew's American Heroes and Black Maxes that have outlasted any of the new equipment that I've ever bought. I've got a Black Max in my boat that's I don't know, it's maybe 10 years old. It's forever days old, and I've never had a bit of trouble out of it. I clean it every year, spool it back up, and it's ready to rock. I mean, the adjustments, the brakes, the gears, everything in it is in good shape. It's just it's a cheaper reel, but it is a quality built reel at a cheaper price. Same way with the Lose American Heroes. I've owned hundreds of American Heroes over the years, and I've only had a handful of them. A handful of them go bad. But now I will say this: 2019 and 2020, I was swapping those reels out. So at that time, I would keep the American Heroes for like a year, and then I would swap them out with a new set for the ones that I did use the American Heroes on. So just think about it like this. Expensive equipment does not catch fish. Think back to when you was a kid. If you were using a Zebco 33 or a spinning rod or anything like that was super cheap, you still caught fish, and you had the confidence to catch the fish, okay? So that is the main thing. You've got to have the confidence, and you've got to be around the fish. It doesn't matter what equipment you use. I still don't run live scope on my boat. It's not because I have anything against live scope. It's just at this point in time in my life, I'm not competing in tournaments. I just don't care to use it. I like the game of having to find the fish the old way, the way that I was taught to find them. So I don't use live scope at the moment. So it's no big deal. Just use what you can afford. You don't have to have 400 sets of reeling rods, okay? The reason I had like 27 to 34 reeling rods was when I was tournament fishing, if it took me 5 minutes to retie something, or something goes wrong and it takes me 5 minutes to fish or fix that issue, you've got to think, if I have to do that 10 times in a day, that's 50 minutes out of my tournament that I could have had my line in the water catching a fish, okay? Now I don't have that issue. So I've got like 10 reels and rods, 3 spinning rods, and the rest of them are bait casting rods. I don't even really need that many. Maybe 3 casting rods and 2 or 3 spinning rods. That's it. I mean, it's no big deal. So focus on getting what you can afford to get you on the water, and then work your way up. So don't just try to jump into the whole, I'm going to spend $1,000 on a reel and rod because, yeah, I mean, it's good quality and it's built well. You'll enjoy it, but at the same time, you could have got the same results out of something a lot cheaper. So do not overthink the equipment things. That's what they do as far as the ads and the people marketing and stuff for them, is to get you to purchase them. And it works. And you have people that truly believe if they don't fish with a specific brand, then, they just can't do anything. And it's really not the brand. It's just the person's mentality. If you don't have the mentality and the confidence to catch the fish, you're not going to catch them. It doesn't matter what you use or what you don't use. So guys, I hope that helps you out a whole lot as far as if you're trying to figure out what reeling rods to use and what not to use and so on and so forth. Buy what you can afford. It doesn't really matter. They're all good. I mean, there's like a handful that I wouldn't use. I don't use Shakespeare, okay? I just don't. I ain't got nothing against their ugly sticks or anything like that. Caught tons of catfish off of them when I was a kid, but it's not something I want to bass fish with, if you get what I'm saying. But your typical, your Lew's, your Shimano, all that stuff, they're all good. Your Daiwa, I mean, I fish with Daiwa reels still. I love Daiwa reels, awesome. But I'm not paying $300 for a rod. It's just me. It doesn't matter if I had $1 million in the bank, I'm not going to pay $300 for a rod. It's just the way I am. So fish with what you can afford. Get comfortable with it. Get confident with it. You'll catch more fish. See you next time.